Check one, two, check one, two. All right. Angus is in the building. What's up, Angus? Welcome in. Let me double check a couple things here real quick. Let's see. JD is in the building. What's up, JD? Y'all welcome in over on the 3 platforms that we are live on right now. Morning and May, welcome in. Dane, appreciate you being here. Let me double check a few things here. And then we'll get rolling. We'll get rolling today. Y'all, thank y'all so much for tapping in. Oh, Grady, welcome in. Oh, that's what's going on. Hold on. I need to look at a couple things here real quick. And then we will get rolling. Oh, Grady, I appreciate you being here. Y'all, welcome in. Sorry, I need to fix something real quick. One moment while I figure something out that is giving me an issue right now, and then we will be ready to go. If y'all are hopping in over on TikTok, make sure y'all are tapping the screen, share out the live. Don't forget to send your heart me for the day. And if you're coming in for the first time, let me know where you're joining from. And if you make music, let me know what kind of music you make. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Justice, welcome in. AJ, welcome in. Poland, appreciate you being here. BIG in the building. Welcome in, y'all. Y'all keep tapping the screen. Just give me a moment. I'm in the middle of trying to figure something out here so that I didn't think I was going to be figuring out. So one moment while I figure this out. Let's see what's going on here real quick. Let's go, Ellen. I love it. Miko, welcome in as well. I've been making music since primary school. I'm 26 now, and I need to start taking this dream serious. I love it. Thank you for the follow as well. I really appreciate that. And from Australia, let's go. I love Australia. I've been twice. Only to Sydney, but I've been twice, and I loved it. Y'all got too many crazy animals there, but it is a really fun spot. I love the people there. All right, let me see 1 second. Beatty, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate that. Sorry for the inconvenience here. I just got to wake this up for a second. Let me see what's happening over here. Thank you for the heart me. Or is it it's Baldy? I think from the reflection on my screen, it looked like Beatty. Baldy, thank you for the heart me. I really appreciate it. Jibby, welcome in as well. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all keep tapping the screen. Sorry, I'm in the middle of updating something. I didn't think I was going to have to do this. I'll explain the live stream in just a couple minutes. Okay, hold on. What is going on here, man? There we go. Hold on. Let's see. Sorry, one moment, y'all. Sorry, this is taking a minute. This is just giving me some issues. And once I am done dealing with said issues, we'll be right back in it. Oh, I see what's going on here. Hold on 1 sec. There we go. One moment, y'all. I apologize for the delay. Let me get this where it's supposed to be. Boom. And boom. All right. Let's see. Check 1 2. Let me get this under control. I just didn't realize all this was going to be reset as soon as I hopped on the stream. So give me just one moment, y'all. I appreciate y'all tapping the screen. I appreciate y'all showing some love. Let me deal with a couple quick things here. Abdullah, welcome in. I appreciate you being here so much. Let me see. Kamai, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much for the follow over on the Purple app. I appreciate that a lot. What is going on here? 2 seconds, y'all. 2 seconds, and we will be ready to go. Ready to go. Abdullah, thank you so much for the follow. Sorry, I'm a little bit absent from paying attention to a couple things. I got to reset a few things here, and then we should hopefully, ideally, be ready to go. Bond and balance. I appreciate you being here. Let's see. Yeah, this is crazy. I think it's because I reset all these settings the last stream. Give me a second. That was a horrible idea. Horrible idea. Check 1 2. Goodness gracious. Check 1 2. 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 We're getting there. We're getting there. I didn't realize I accidentally saved the wrong settings on here. Uh, I'll explain the live in a second, y'all. Sorry for this delay. This is driving me nuts. Give me just a moment. Give me just a moment to get back back under control here. Just one moment. Chris, I appreciate you tapping in as well. Do me a favor, make sure y'all are tapping the screen and we will get Mossy's in the building. What's up, Mossy? I appreciate you tapping in. I see you over on the red app. I appreciate you being here. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. This is driving me nuts. Driving me nuts. Okay. Do. Dun. Almost there. I don't know why these settings are all out of whack for me. Give me a sec. Check. Get this output up a little bit. There we go. Let's see. That's better. Check. Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2. 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 Let's get that up. And let's go over here. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay. We're almost there. I'm just getting these settings. Ooh, there we go. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Okay, we're getting there. Sorry, y'all. I was dealing with some random issues, random little technological issues. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, now we're back where we're supposed to be. I don't know what was going on there for a second, but I think I've got this back under control. Okay, sorry, y'all. Had some audio issues there for a second. Let me get kind of caught up here. For one, let me make sure that I save this so that we don't have any other issues. Okay, I think we're back, y'all. Sorry, I did not expect to spend the first 7.5 minutes dealing with technical issues, but I think I got it figured out. Damn, those keys sound nice. Was it an actual piano or a MIDI board with a plugin? It's a MIDI plugin right here. I do have an upright piano. It's in a different room, but this is just... It's this piano right here. I can actually just show you right here on the screen. I like this piano a lot. It's really simple. It's a universal audio. No one uses piano. I'm gonna ban you again, man. I have a piano in the other room and I use it all the time. I like it. It's this one right here. It's Ravel or Ravel, probably Ravel, makes sense. Ravel by Universal Audio. I like it. I like it. It sounds great. I just use it. I use it, for like simple stuff like this. I have native the Grander. I've got a bunch of piano, everyone is always talking about, piano plugins and stuff. I have so many piano plugins that I could never use them all. I have so many that I have and use all the time that it's too many. It's too many. Everyone is always looking for like a next one, and I am sworn off of plugins for a while. I hate plugins with a passion. They're obviously great, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of plugins and updates and compatibility issues and whatever. It's annoying. Johnny T. Clark, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Paul, welcome in. I appreciate you. Mossy, I'm doing pretty good. Been busy. Been working like crazy. But yeah, things are going pretty well. All right, let me get one thing updated over here just real quick. Let me get out of this. Boom. Let's get this updated right here. Do you master? Yes, I do. It's not something that I typically do on its own. Most of the projects that I take on, just for it to like make the most sense for me, like time-wise, financially, workload-wise, and just with the amount of clients that I'm dealing with right now, I don't typically do it on its own, but I can, and I do. It's a little bit more rare. But I do. That's part of what I do for a living is mixing and mastering. I've been dealing with installing plugins for 15 hours. Yeah, it's not fun, dude. I hate it so much. I use the Korg M1 out of the 80s. The piano sound is tight as hell. Baldy, I literally have an M1 in my reverb cart right now, and I am I'm deciding whether or not I want to get it. I have a synth that's coming into the studio tomorrow. Yesterday, I have a synth that's coming into the studio tomorrow. Hopefully, all goes well and it works and is doing what it's supposed to do. That I'm really really excited about. I haven't told anyone what it is yet, but it is coming very soon. And then I am have a couple other synths that I am looking at getting in here as well. A couple other ones that I'm looking for. So I'm interested in the M1 because I would like to get eventually. I just don't have a lot of space in here. I've sold a bunch of synths already, and I'm getting a bunch more in here. But I'm looking at getting the M1 in here. I'm looking at getting a D50 in here, a Roland D50 in here. I would love to get a Prophet in here. I've got a couple Moogs in my cart right now too. The M1 I've had in there for a little bit as well. Okay, let me double check a few things here. No telling, Wubs. No telling. I can say it's not a Korg. I can. The M1 is the M1 is, but the synth that is coming tomorrow is not a Korg. Okay, let me catch up on a couple things here. I love the M1. The M1's great though. The thing with the M1 is like I don't know if having the hardware of the M1 would offer me something more than some of the other like things that I already have. I just got rid of my Korg Triton LE, which fills some of that like early sampling void. But it is, I don't know if I need the M1. I'm getting a little bit more. I would like more monophonic synths in here. So I'm looking at a couple other like paraphonic or monophonic synths in here. And then I have, a couple of, like I said, a couple other synths that are coming in. And I already have, behind me, I already have the Poly D. I already have a mini log. I already have a DX21. I already have an ESQ1 Plus. Or an SQ1 Plus in Sonic. I also have a Juno 106. I've got a bunch of other rack synths that I'm working on building up right now. So it's like I'm trying to find like what fills a void for me, not just to have it. And that to me is kind of what I'm looking at. Wubsy, it's so good to see you, man. It's so good to see you. I hope you're doing fantastic today. Pook, shoot me a message. It kind of depends on the record. It depends on how you're formatting things. It depends on the depth of the project, stuff like that. So yeah, shoot me a message. I'll get back to it as soon as I can. Elijah's in the building. What's up, Elijah? Welcome in. April again. It's good to see you. We have just submitted and donated. Can't wait for your thoughts. Let's go, man. Let me get a couple things updated here. Give me just a moment, y'all. Okay, and then I'll explain in just a few seconds. In a few seconds, I will explain the live stream and I will get everything organized here. We'll get the line updated. Let me get this refreshed over here. Of course, man, anytime. April again, I believe that's you right here. So let me get you up on the board. I appreciate you so much. Love listening to y'all stuff. April again. Let's go, Elijah. I love it, man. How do I make my songs sound more full? These are some of those questions that are, they're good questions. They're good questions, but it depends on what your pain points are, right? And without like knowing what like the pain points of your music are and how you're tracking and how you're mixing, it's a little bit more of a difficult answer. Because I could say, utilize, strategic compression to make sure certain elements of your mix feel forward and feel vibrant, while still maintaining good dynamic control. I could say saturation, so on and so on. There's all these things that I could say, proper panning technique, but what that means, like to you, based on your pain points, based on your process, are going to mean like a lot of different things, if that kind of makes sense. So it really just depends on. It's kind of like why we even like have the stream, a little bit of kind of dissecting and really pointing out where those pain points are in your record to kind of get into those details. That to me is like that's the hard part. It's like I don't know what doesn't feel full, right? And I don't know like the relationship between all of those different elements and stuff like that. But there's like practical answers of like, healthy levels of like control through dynamic range, positioning through your panning. Saturation can help, shave off, introduce some harmonics, give yourself a little bit of control and some energy in the mix, while also making it sound, kind of musical and naturally compressed and then boosting. What's up, Nova? So, there's things that you can do to make it full, but those also, if you're already like clipping and over distorting, saturating more is not the answer. So there's like a whole bunch of, if you're already over compressed and things sound like tinny and weird and over controlled, compression's definitely not the answer, right? If you already are like carving out a bunch of space in the mids of your song, then like good EQ control in the middle of the mix is not the answer. So it really just depends on your current pain points in your record. Okay, give me a second, y'all. We're going to get into some stuff. I will go ahead and I will explain the live stream here in just a second. Let me get this updated over here. April, again, I got you updated. You're on the board. You're ready to go. Let's see. Boom. All right, Joe, let's get into it. Let's get into it. For those of you who have never been here before, I'm so glad y'all are here. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to Track Talk. That's what this live stream is. If you have never been here before, what we do here in Track Talk are 20 to 30 minute multiple listen deep dive consultations on the structure of your music. We're going to spend that 20 to 30 minutes listening to your track multiple times to dive deep into the mix and master, production elements, sound design, lyric, and song structure. We're going to spend all of that time getting into the nuances and the details of what you're doing, both creatively and practically within the structure of your music. This is not a quick review. There is no trash or pass. There's no ratings. There's no polls. This is strictly about getting into the details of your music and offering specific, practical, and actionable feedback on the structure of your music. I'm not here to roast you. I'm not here to trash you. I'm not here to tear you down. I'm not here to hype you up. I'm not here to give you exposure. I say this every time. If that happens, if the algorithm does some cool stuff and you get some fans of your music, beautiful. I love it. It's just not my priority. It's not the direction I've pointed this stream, and it's not the way that we format things here. The goal here is to get into the details, really break down the music, and get into kind of a hyper focus on what you're doing strategically within the structure of your music. For those of you who don't know, my name is Torvik. I'm a full-time audio engineer, producer, and session musician. That is what I do for a living. It's what I've done for the last 14 plus years. I'm also a classically trained musician. So the structure of this live stream is kind of from that perspective and pointed in that direction. Okay, let me go over a few things here really quick as far as submitting. If you would like to submit for one of these consultations, like I said, they're detailed, they're long form, it's not a fast review. If you want to submit for a consultation, go or even just look through the details of the structure of the tracks and stuff like, or the structure of submitting and stuff like that, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. If you're on the purple app, which we're live on right now, type !submit right there in the chat. If you are on the red app, which we're also live on right now, YT is the initials of that app. You can go to the description for the live stream and see the, and you'll see the details there. You'll see the same link there. If you would like to see the line order minimums, which actually is not up right now because it is not loading, give me 2 seconds to fix that. This will just take a moment. If you want to see the line, then just go to the other platforms that we're live on, the red app or purple app. You can find them at my link and you'll see everything that you need right there. Let's see. And Jan Store, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. And the line is up. Beautiful, gorgeous. Love it. We're going to take probably about 6 songs today. I just do these live streams whenever I'm, finished somewhat with the projects that I've had for the day, the session work that I have for the day. So they're not terribly long. Sometimes they are. If I finish, early, a little bit earlier in the day and I'm able to send out a revision or 2 on a mix or whatever it may be, then sometimes we'll go live a little bit longer. But lately that has not been the case. Okay. Let's get into a couple things here. But yeah, once again, if you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. We are going to go ahead and get into some music. We're going to kick it off today with April again. Let me pull up the email here. Let's see if this will open up. All right, let's get into it. And then April, just drop in the chat really quick. I see your name at the top, so you should be ready to go. Hey, Torvik, not sure if you remember. I do. But you gave us some killer feedback on our mixes ahead of our first EP release last year. Has been a minute. This is, last year was 4 or 5 months ago, so it's not that crazy, but it still seems kind of crazy. This is our lead single from our second EP, which has been produced by Mike Deuce, the lead singer and guitarist from Lower the Atlantis. We are a 3-piece alt-rock band from the UK, and we launched last August. We are at the point where we can't change any of the actual performance on the recordings, but these are the first mixes back, so we can definitely give mix feedback, revisions, etc. All right, let's get into it. Dean, if you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, then just read through and follow the details there. Really quick, if y'all are on TikTok, make sure y'all are tapping the screen, share out the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your heart me for the day. It does really help out the live stream, and let's get into it. This is Run by April again. Let's get into it. Whoever is here in the chat with April, remind me really quick what your role is in the production of this and stuff like that. All right. As far as music and things of that nature. Let me get this downloaded. Play guitar. Okay, beautiful. King TK in the building. What's up, King TK? Appreciate you tapping in today. Give me just a moment. Dude, side note while this is downloading, has anyone tried to get storage lately? Little side tangent here for just a second. Dude, how long are you live for? Mossy, this is our first song. I'll be on for probably about 3 hours or so, 2.5 to 3 hours ish, depending. The French being my first language. How does this live work? Is it Zabo? These are 20 to 30 minute long consultations for artists, producers, musicians, engineers, so on and so on, songwriters, vocalists. We're going to spend 20 to 30 minutes listening to your track 2 or 3 different times to really get into the details of it. And then we spend that 20 to 30 minutes breaking down the structure of it, offering some tips, offering actionable feedback, and then just really getting into the nuances of what you're doing. All submissions are at my profile if you click on the link. Has anyone tried getting, I don't know, it's just very, very random. No, if you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through the steps there. Got you. Okay, it's downloaded. Yeah, the storage is so insanely expensive right now. I was in the market. I was like, man, I need to get a couple more terabytes of storage. I blast with all the different, client projects that I take on, whether, social media stuff, content, YouTube, whatever, like just anything that I'm doing or anything that like we're doing within Obsidian Key. Like there's so many things that I'm constantly taking on, just more and more gigs of just data information. And it is, Purple app's not working properly. Let me double check. I appreciate you. Let me know. And then we'll get into it. I already got this downloaded. But yeah, I was going to get, oh wait, it's glitching. Can y'all still hear me? Hold up. Let me know if y'all can still hear me or if it's just the video that's cut. Okay, y'all can still hear. Give me a second. Let me see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. Now, I know it's completely frozen. Yeah. I know. Give me a sec, y'all. Give me a sec. Yep. Do. Let's see. There we go. Okay, we should be back. We're looking good, sounding good. Everything looks good. Got you, Nova. I just got that. I appreciate you, man. Let me get you up there, and then we'll dig into this first song. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if we're good. I see it working on my end, so let me know if it is for you as well. Thank you so much for the gift, Zaba. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for that. Good. Fantastic. Okay, yeah, it's my old Cam Link. The Cam Link gives me some issues sometimes. It's not very rarely. It's just old. Okay, let me get Nova in here. Nova, I got you. I appreciate you so much. Let me get you up there. Boom. Ready to go. But it does occasionally give me some random issues. But usually if I just unplug it and plug it back in. And it is like the nicer one too. The Cam Link, not nicer, it's whatever. They're still not that crazy, but the Cam Link 4K, but every once in a while gives me some issues. All right, really quick, if you're on the purple or red app, just let me know. Mark Lee, welcome in. Appreciate you tapping in. If you're on the red app or purple app, let me know. Give me a thumbs up or let me know that everything's good over there as well, because I can see it back on TikTok, but they mentioned purple app was acting up a little bit. So let me know if we're good over there. Let me know. And then we will dive into this first track. I'm going to pull it up. Let me know. I know there's a little bit of a delay. Annabelle Wag. Perfect. All right, let's get into it. Thank you for the heart me, Gabriel. I appreciate that so much. I'm on the orange. I'm on the orange and black app. Hey, whatever app you decide to consume content on. No judgment here. That app does not exist in Texas anymore. All right, let's run it. This is Run by April again. Let's dive in. Mark Lee, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that a lot. Lepardia, thank you so much for the heart me as well. I really appreciate it. Let's run it from the top. Let's get into some details here and let's start getting into the music. Like I said, we got approximately 6 songs today, so it's gonna be fairly concise, even though each of these breakdowns are still 20 to 30 minutes long. How do you feel about the Presonus monitors and the KRKs? If they fit your room and they fit what you're trying to do with your music, then they're fine. My first monitors I ever had were KRKs. They were Rocket 7s, I believe. I might be making that up. I think they were Rocket 7s. I'm pretty sure they were Rocket 7s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they were, and they were fine. They were fine. I mean, they did the job. I wouldn't necessarily mix on them. They're going to typically be a little bit more inflated in the low end oftentimes to kind of compensate for clarity. There's some things with it, but also you can mix on anything as long as you adapt your mixes to them. ATC, yeah, that's a different level, Tab. That's a different, when someone's asking about KRKs, yeah, that's a different world. But yeah, I mean, I think they're fine, right? I just sold a pair. I've had a bunch of different monitors. I'm always buying and selling and flipping stuff. So I got a pair of Presonus these monitors and a pair of M Audio monitors for free off of Marketplace. Cleaned them up, and I got them with another thing that I traded for, and they were like fine. They're like fine, you know. They're okay. You gotta know your room, you gotta know your space, and you gotta know how you mix, right? So that to me is like, you know, you got to kind of understand your own environment. Like I mix on these now. Once I got these, I adapted to mixing on these, and these are very expensive, but like I adapted to mixing on these and just never quite went back. I was like, if I'm going to spend $1,500 on these in the specific room that I'm in right now, which is we're in a rental home, but I've done the most in here. I've outfitted this place and treated it and stuff like that. It's not that treated where I'd want to like mix and master. It's treated. I've got clouds, I've got panels, I've got that stuff doing what it's supposed to do, but it's not that treated and that controlled where I would feel super confident mixing in the room. There's going to be a lot of kind of interesting nodes and standing waves and stuff like that. So I've just made the choice where like I have monitors, I have some Focal monitors in the room as well, but I use those largely for like referencing in productions, maybe some little mixed things to check stereo and whatever they're, but I really don't, I really don't do too much as far as like surgical mixing stuff on those monitors. I'll mix on these every day. I love mixing on these. They're fantastic. Okay. Have you used Behringer before? Like in what capacity? I have a bunch of Behringer stuff. I've got like 4 or 5 Behringer synths in here. I've used Behringer in a lot of different capacities. I used to have a Behringer mixer. I used to have a Behringer interface years ago. I've got a Behringer ADAT 8-channel preamp down here that I run all my drums into. I always have a good balance, I feel, of like what I feel like is necessarily expensive. Like this mic is pretty expensive. These headphones are expensive. I've got some synths that are really expensive, but I also have a bunch of cheap stuff that just does the job that I want it to do really cheaply instead of paying a bunch of money for, different stuff. So I think it just depends on what you need. Okay. If you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link. Let's get into some music. This is Run by April again. Let's dive in.
Late night colorblind, holding on to
That's true, chap.
something near and bright. Fear a shadow taking all you need. Looking out for help and harmony. Run, run. It's not safe anymore. Run, run.
That wakes up nicely.
It's not safe anymore. Run, run.
Yeah, that really comes to life, man. That's nice. Uncertain, just say it. I need you the same way you needed me. Run, run. This is April again. April, hop in the chat really quick so people can see. I mean, they can follow you. Great tone on the guitars. Thank you for the follow. Not out yet. Love the guitar tone. It's fantastic. Let's go. Let's go. Beautiful, beautiful job. That is run by April again, who is right here in the chat. So if you like what you hear, the song is not out yet, but if you like what you hear, please go follow them here. Go listen to the music that they have on all platforms as well. They're really obviously very, very, very talented. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Let's run it from the top as we always do. Let's get into some of the details here. Jacob, I see you. I appreciate you so much. Yeah, if anybody would like to send your music, Nicole, welcome in. Good to see you. If anyone would like to send your music, go to my profile or music that you've worked on. Go to my profile, click on the link, and read through and follow the details there. We'll get you in line, ready to go. If y'all want to check the line order minimum, stuff like that, just go to the other platforms that we're live on, the red app and purple app. All right, let's get into it. If it's just a sing and a cover, yeah, 100%. We've had people send in voice memos. We've had people send in just like recordings from their phone. We've had people send in Grammy nominated performances that they were session musicians for. So it's gonna be all over the place as far as genre, setup, as far as like quality of production and stuff like that. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. There's a lot. Like actually within the same live stream, I say this all the time just because people ask all the time, but within the same live stream, we had someone who sent in a voice memo of them recording humming a melody in a Starbucks booth and asked if we could help them like build a chord progression around it so they could start producing it and send it to session musicians. And in that same live stream, we had like a Grammy nominated saxophonist or maybe it was trumpet in that same live stream. So it's gonna be all over the place. Faith, thank you so much for the follow. Or sorry, I don't know if I'm dyslexic. Fatih, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate it. What do you think of Little Mixes? Little Mixes. I don't know if I know Little Mixes. I'm not sure. Okay, let's get into it, man. This is April again. Once again, if you would like to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, then just read through and follow the details there. All right, let's get into it. Round two.
Late night colorblind.
I really like the way this intro opens up. One thing I want you to be kind of aware of, even in this kind of like early intro that you have right here. Yeah, absolutely. P for long, 100%. Yeah, that's what we do here largely. We're breaking down mixed master structure. We're looking at production elements, sound design choices. We'll listen for song structure, vocal phrasing, vocal production, stuff like that. We're gonna be all over the place. It really just depends on who's here and what they do within their music. That will always be the thing that we target. In this case, where the performances are done, they're locked in, they've already been tracked in studio, so that's already kind of solidified. Now it's just about like mix positioning, stuff like that. So each breakdown's a little bit different. Okay, each one is about 20 to 30 minutes. I haven't heard of Little Mix. I'm not positive. Okay, let's run it from the top really quick. One of the things I want you to look out for on this early mix, I like the idea of it being a little bit slimmed down, right? Like it's a little bit more mono, maybe a little bit more filtered. You're relying on reverb in the room with the guitars to kind of give you some of the space that you're looking for. The only thing that I would be kind of aware of is low mid buildup on the vocals, and that's relationship to the guitars and the reverb that are around the guitars, right? Right now, there's like a lot of energy below like 800 hertz, like 100 to 800 hertz. There's just a lot of buildup right there between the low end of those vocals, which is a little bit muddy, a little bit boomy, especially when it is played with those guitars. And those guitars sound pretty full, which I like. I don't want this to be overly polished, right? It's not supposed to be, but I do still want to make sure that there's like room for these elements to coexist, right? And right now it feels like that middle guitar that guitar that you have in the background with these early picking patterns, it does feel a little bit low mid forward, so it's a little bit kind of inflated there, a little muddy, a little bit boomy, and then that's stacked on top of a vocal, and they all sit kind of in mono in the middle. You have some like stereo reverbs and chorus and stuff like that, but for the most part, most of that signal is kind of sitting in the same place between the vocal and the guitar, and kind of sitting in the same kind of frequency pocket right there. So I would kind of choose your battles here a little bit. There's a couple other parts of this vocal in here that feels a little bit dull on the top end and a little bit muddy on the bottom end. If we can create like a slight balance, just a slight rebalancing in the vocal, very, very tastefully and intentionally, I think we can wake up the lead. Backgrounds, I don't mind so much, but the lead vocal, I think we can wake it up a little bit. So 100 to 300 hertz, where a little bit of that boom is, maybe go down a dB and a half, 2 dB to help clear some of that space for the guitar and just give it a little bit better clarity through most of the song. And top end of that vocal, I wouldn't mind. I'm not here to tell everyone to crank their high end because I think that's ruined more, independent amateur records than most tips ever have. Crank 10K for air has destroyed more amateur records than most tips that you'll find on TikTok. Anyways, side note, sidebar there. I do think that you could open up the top end of this vocal very lightly to give it a little bit of space. And so, 9K, 10K, even up just like again, same thing, tastefully small, like a dB and a half, 2 dB, you're going to create like a 3 dB shift in energy, pulling some of the mud away, opening up the top end lightly, and hopefully give you a little bit more space in this mix, especially, when you're kind of competing with the rhythm guitars, and then don't have the high end to kind of force it over the top. Small little detail there, I think could open this up a little bit. I would also slightly offset the lead, the double. So you have the da na na, and then you also have a high octave. Da, 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 da. You have a high octave that sits kind of right above it. It's like directly in line with that lead vocal. So it's kind of right here. I would just offset it slightly. Just get it like 3%, 5% off of that lead vocal. That might make it more distinct in the mix, but then you can probably bring it back by a couple dB if you need to, in order to kind of, again, clarify, create a little bit better separation so that the guitars and the reverb of those guitars and the lead vocal and the stacks of the vocal aren't competing for all of the same space right here in the middle of the mix. I don't think you need to like double and go super wide if that's not the style that you're looking for, but even just a tiny amount of separation can give you a lot more clarity out of those vocals there. I really like the tone of the guitars over the whole song. When you double track, this is single here, but when you double track the guitars going into the hook or like your bigger breakdowns, it's vibrant, it's wide, it's driven really, really well. Absolutely love your tone. Absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic.
Onto something near and bright. Fear a shadow taking all you need. Looking out for help and harm.
Orange Rock Verb seems to always record well for us. I love it. I love it, man. Yeah, it's really nice.
Run, run. It's not safe anymore.
I love how raw this all feels too. It almost feels like a live, it is in a sense, but like almost feels like a live performance.
Run, run.
And then this sounds pretty fantastic. Like this, like once you open this up, what's up, Andy? Welcome in. Once you open this up, this sounds really, really nice. You're getting a ton of openness. You're getting a ton of energy in the mix right here. It feels way more dynamic. And because you jump register, run, da, 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 da. The higher register of your vocal right there does it, maybe even just in proximity to the microphone, as well as just the register that you're hitting. You're not getting nearly as much low end information. You're probably backed off the mic by another 2 or 3 inches, right? By default of you just having more energy behind your performance, as opposed to, kind of settling into your closer performance through that early verse right there, an early hook that you have. So by default, your hook vocal sounds way more prominent, way more open up. You also get the doubles left and right that also wake that up and make it feel a lot more energetic and vibrant. So right there already feels really well done. Really well done. I'm not super familiar. Yeah.
Just a break in the unknown cover of how we love one another.
It's got a little bit, it kind of reminds me of The Strike a little bit, with a bit more of a rock edge. I don't know if you know The Strike at all. They're still not like super big. But they do a little bit more like 80s pop kind of stuff, 80s synth pop, stuff like that. But it kind of reminds, yeah, The Strike is awesome. I love them. but it kind of reminds me a little bit of that tonality, a little bit overdriven, obviously with a little bit more of a snappy rock edge. But I like it a lot, man. It's really, really cool. Same thing here where like I'm hearing that vocal and I'm wanting a little bit more space at that bottom and then a little bit more opened up at like 8-9K kind of towards the top end of that vocal, where it just everything else is now really snappy, really, it's kind of woken up in the mix, right? So like the drums are snapping through, they feel really vibrant. You have a clean double track guitar. The bass is obviously introduced a lot more energy now, and that vocal still is a little mellow and a little bit dry. So I do think it would be nice to wake that up just a little bit. And then you're golden. Let's get into this next hook.
It's not safe anymore. Run, run.
I mean, that's great tone. It's really, really good tone. I like it. I like it a lot, man. Okay, I'm going to mention this because it's what I do here and it's what we talk about. I'll mention it. I'm not saying that this necessarily needs to be corrected or that you even actually have the capacity to correct it. Like you said, printing is done. Tracking is done. You're locked in. You're ready to go. Andrew, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. If anybody wants to submit, I see people asking. If you want to submit music, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. We'll get you up in line, ready to go. We got maybe five more tracks today, something like that. Going to this hook. One of the things that I'm kind of trying to figure out in the background here as well is obviously you have a phenomenal tone on the guitars. The drums wake things up. The double on the vocals is absolutely beautiful. The only thing that I'm kind of running into, this is in D sharp minor, right? So you have this run, 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 da, 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 da. So off that progression right there, leading up to like the D sharp minor right there, the guitar then moves up like an octave and then kind of starts its next sequence and starts its next phrase right there, an octave up, or at least like a fifth to an octave up on the high end right there. When that happens, you do miss a lot of like mid and low mid information where you only have a bass in those guitars at the top. And then there's this gap right here at the bottom where there's just not a lot of information in the mix. The drums are doing their thing. The bass is crushing. That lead guitar rhythm to lead guitar is doing everything that it's supposed to do. But then when it walks up in that progression, again, I'm not saying you should change this, or it's just something to kind of keep in mind, right? As that guitar moves up to the top, you do lose a little bit of energy in those low mids, right? So then the whole middle of the mix kind of hollows out a little bit. I wish there was a little bit more energy right there. That might be difficult to do depending on your phrasing and depending on like your like chord inversions on the guitar and stuff like that. Contrasting parts, I get what you're saying. Yeah, and I also I want there to be a really clear translation from your studio tracks to your live performances and stuff too, right? So if you're like, I don't want to add 4 more guitar layers because that's not what we do. That's not what we can even do live. I get that as well. Like I don't want you to like overperform in the studio and then be underwhelming live without background tracks, right? So I don't want you to have to mess with that too much. What I would maybe focus on, or something I would kind of keep in mind, is if you are going to move, like if you're starting here, run, 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 and then you're going to kind of randomly move a little bit higher and have all of the energy of the track shift higher with the lead guitar right there, then you should probably find a way to maintain just a little bit lower, right? Like maintain a lower chord, whether that means that you shift instead of sliding up, and you're on the guitar side, so you would know, but like instead of like sliding up the fretboard and keeping your chord inversions a little bit higher, maybe find a way to do it where when you open up a higher chord, maybe lower on the fretboard, you like down tune your top, right? Like down tune your top string or something like that to an E flat in this case, or a D sharp in this case, you can still get open right there. Like find some ways to make sure that when that lead moves high, you still have energy in the low end or in like the low mids. Hopefully that makes like a little bit of sense. Jacob, I'll double check for you in a sec. I appreciate you so much. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is like when you start here and move here, and then you move up here, if you maintain that D sharp, so that feels way more full than just now we're missing that low end energy right there, and the bass is super sub, right? So it's filling out a lot lower. So that to me is one of the few things. It's like if you're only going to do one guitar, nothing wrong with that. It makes your translation really consistent from live to recording and stuff like that. If you're going to do one guitar, keep in mind how that is like facilitated in the mix. And if you're leaving a lot of space open, that is going to cause you to like lose energy in the performance in the mix. And or just double track, right? Like, and or just bring in another layer where the guitar, it slides a little bit higher and you have a rhythm track that's doing power chords between B, C sharp and D sharp, right? That's one of the very, very few things that I would address there. But structurally, vocally, performance-wise, tone-wise, musicianship, fantastic. We're talking about little details, maybe even just for the next record, but this is awesome. All this sounds great. Great layers, great third harmony on the outside. Beautiful. Absolutely love it. I love it, man. What do you mean, Pete? Woo! Great riff. How you on the dun 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 pum, you have that low energy right there on like the 2 minor or 3, right? Like you get all of this fantastic low energy in the low end because it doesn't just move up to the high, but it resolves to the lower chord. That makes all the difference for me. And that's a little bit of what I'm like looking for when it comes to the structure there. If I go to submit, is it just one song or a couple short clips? Each submission is a song. Each submission is a song. People send in multiple songs. We've had people send in full EPs and stuff like that before. But yeah, each submission is for one song. And that one song, we're going to play for 20 to 30 minutes. We're going to, just like we are now, we're going to break it down. We're going to get into structure. We're going to dive into the details. But yeah, that's what we're doing here. Absolutely, man. 100%. We had no keys, so I had a reverb pedal on full for the little bit. Hey, it's doing the trick. Also, but all of these are saved though, P. So on the Red app starts, YT is the initials for the Red app, which we're live on right now. Every single one of these live streams are saved to that platform as well under a playlist that's called Track Talk live stream. So you can go back and watch the entire thing. You don't even have to worry about like screen recording, taking notes and stuff like that. You can literally just go back and watch the entire thing, go find your spot where your song was, and we'll, and go back and kind of reference the details there if you would like to as well. Some great riffs in here. I got you, Jacob. Stefan, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I got you, Jacob. No, you're good. You're good. I have brutal ADHD, Jacob. So I'm really bad about jumping around already, as y'all will probably hear as we go throughout the live stream. I've got 15 screens and whatever, and I'm already jumping around like crazy. And so I am like fighting to stay focused. That's the only reason why I'm like, okay, I'll check after the song or whatever. I'm always like trying to fight through it. So I got you. I do have your 10. I'll get you up on the board here in a sec. What do you mean, Pete? Like, that's that low mid right there. Y'all show some love. April again. I love what y'all do stylistically, energy-wise, performance-wise. I mean, I feel the emotion in the vocal. I love the tone on the guitars. Positioning is great. The whole structure behind the percussion, I think, is fantastic. I think the formatting of the song itself, I think, is also fantastic. So y'all please show some love to April again. Can't wait for this to come out. Please show some love. Make sure that y'all are following April again. Make sure that y'all are absolutely locked in. Hunter Wood, thank you so much for tapping in. If anybody would like to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. We'll get you up on the board. We got about 5 songs left maybe today, nothing too crazy. But yeah, if you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details. We'll get you up there. Jacob, let me get you on the list right now. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the submission. Let me get you in line, ready to go. Boom, you're up on the board. If y'all would like to check the line, order minimum, stuff like that, then go to the other platforms that we're live on, which you can find at my link as well. We're live on 3 different platforms right now. We just got to use codes sometimes. Yeah, go to my profile. Same place. So the same place that you sent the credit right there, then just at the top, you'll see an email. Like in the first step right there, you'll see an email. Just copy the email over. You'll be good to go. How do I improve my back vocals? What is your pain point for your back vocals? That determines on how you improve it. Because I don't know if they're muddy. I don't know if they're not wide enough. I don't know if they're like too harsh. Those are all very, very different pain points that would have a different solution to how you fix them. Okay, let's get into it. We've got Nova in the building. Nova, hop in the chat. Just let me know that you're here. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate it. All right, let's get into this. Boom. Let's see if Nova's in the building. And then we'll light it up. Let me see. Jacob, that's the contact. That's the contact. I just got this on another place here. That's the contact form. Go to when you go to the submission form. Same submission form. It's right there. It's right there at the top. You just copy it over from there. Silver, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. I don't see. It's just too harsh. I mean, the way that you can. I mean, there's a couple. Simple ways, but it kind of depends on the source of the harshness. If it's sibilants and stuff like that, you can do some tasteful de-essing, some removal of some of the harsher, more, kind of unbeneficially resonant frequencies in those background vocals. The thing that background vocals do, depending on the genre, depending on how you structure things, depending on how you're kind of, building stuff like that out. Thank you for the follow. The background vocals largely are there for information, right? So it's giving you different panning positionings. It's giving you different chordal information, if they're harmonies or they're doubles or they're stacks or low octaves, stuff like that, right? It's giving you information. So a lot of times on the background vocals, you can carve a little bit more and you can remove things. Like a lot of times I'll remove a lot more sibilants out of background vocals than necessarily out of the lead vocal. So the lead vocal can maintain more natural phrasing, especially with that, obviously without being too harsh. You can maintain a little bit more natural phrasing for your lead vocal, but I don't need 18 other background vocals all saying like the S, like a harsh S all at different times. You know what I mean? So oftentimes when I'm like bussing background vocals, I can remove a little bit more. I might not need as much low end information in the backgrounds as I do in the lead. So maybe I'll carve a little bit more. Maybe I'll remove a little bit of high end or whatever it may be. It's going to be different song to song, genre to genre. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. So on the background vocals, if you're dealing with harshness, just make, bust them out, send them all to the same place, balance them individually, send them to the same place. And in that same place, get some strategic EQ on there. And if there's something that's bothering you, harshness, like that you're getting some sibilants, add a de-esser over there, find the right frequency and, take away a little bit of some of the abrasiveness that's happening there. Some strategic dynamic EQing can be helpful to just make sure that nothing is slicing through over the lead vocal. And then the other thing is also making sure that they're aligned pretty decently as well. If you're starting and stopping your phrases at different times and you got 8 different background vocals, all of that like buildup of energy and all of that kind of noise that builds up just because there's so many different things happening can be really abrasive and kind of confusing to listen to. So making sure that your background vocals are lined up well, bust them properly, healthy EQ, without being too crazy, depending on the genre and stuff like that, is going to help you with some of your harshness. Can I go that route as well? Yeah, I produce full time. That's what I do for a living. Okay, let's Jacob, I got you. Boom, boom, boom. I got you. Just came in. But yeah, Jake, yeah. Oh, you're talking about through the website. Yeah, I can check over there too. Yeah, if you ever want me to produce, that's what I do full time. So I work full time as an engineer, producer, and session musician. So if anybody, I don't really market myself on here. My goal, obviously, oftentimes is try to give y'all as much autonomy over your sound as possible. Give you the tools to do what you're doing. But if you ever want to work, shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to work with you. We'll talk about the details of your record and get you moving in the right direction. It's really rough, so don't laugh. And I can send snap. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I got you. And trust me, I have heard whatever you think your rough is, I've heard worse. Just trust me. People come in like, this is super rough. I'm like, you have no idea the raw vocals that I've gotten before. Not naming any names. Gideon, what's up? Gideon, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing amazing, man. Welcome in. All right, let's run it. So I haven't seen Nova, so we're gonna go straight to Jacob then. So Jacob, you're getting a little skipperooski there. Absolutely, 100%. All right, this is a very rough revision, but with a vision, a revision with a vision. I haven't tracked all the vocals. Let me see. Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. I haven't tracked all the vocals and finished it yet, but I would love to have this song produced possibly. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, give me all the little details, Jacob. Give me all the little details. Welcome over, Nova. Oh, wait, so Nova is here. Sorry, Nova. Nova hopped on a different platform. That's my bad. Okay, let me get this downloaded. So we're gonna do Nova first. Sorry, Jacob. We're gonna do Nova first, and then we'll go into Jacob. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong screen. Like I said, brutal ADHD. I got too many things going on. Yeah, my bad. All right, and we're back. We got Nova. This is my song. Intendo, 100%. Yeah, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. This is my song, Cosmosis, just a 2010 style dubstep song I wrote for fun. Nothing too special, mixed and mastered myself, and it is not released. Let me get this downloaded over here real quick, and then we'll run this track and we'll dive into it. I'm excited, man. Let's see. All right, this is nope, that's the wrong one downloading. Let's see. You're good, Nova. Sorry, I was like, wait, hold on 1 second. Is it downloading? Let's give it a sec. Run, run, run. April again. Such a catchy song. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't want to download. Let's see. Let me give it a second. It's time. Byron, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Is it Lopez? Welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Okay. It's not. I'm gonna try it a different way. I don't know why it's not downloading. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is usually pretty good. That's gonna give me a bunch of frustrating issues if I don't pause it there. Let me see what's going on here. I've had some random little, like, it might be the Wi-Fi. I've had some kind of random issues today. Even starting the live here, having some random audio issues and stuff. So let me see what's going on here. The other one, because I just downloaded the other track and it pulled up perfectly fine. Run, run, run. I probably don't mix it as often. Like there's, your main styles of music that are going to be like, pop, R&B, stuff like that are just more common. They're more common. But I have, and I definitely can. I was working with a band a couple months ago. I actually produced a progressive metal track for them. Did everything in-house here in the studio. And it was really cool. I don't know when they're releasing it, or when they're getting that song ready, or if they're going in it, because I produced it and then their band is going to play it. It was kind of an interesting thing where I produced the whole record from scratch, and then their band is going to like learn what I produced and then play it themselves. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I have before, so it's not as common. I do like it though. I like staying on my toes as a producer and not getting too locked into doing the same thing all the time. I have my clientele list right now is all over the place. Yeah, it's like I keep talking about it all the time. It's all over the place. Every style right now. What pad are you using on the Focal? It's just the original. It's just the ones from Focal, the original like microfiber ones, like memory foam microfiber cloth or whatever it is. I like them. They're comfy. I've listened to these for like 7 hours on end and had no issues. I like them. All right, I'm going to try to play it in the app, but it might chop up on us a little bit. But let me see. I don't know, for whatever reason, Nova, it's not even budging, which is weird because I do this all the time. Okay, I'm gonna try downloading it again. Oh, actually, wait, I think it just did. I gotta use the restroom. I'm gonna be right back, Nova. I'm gonna use the restroom, and then we'll dive into this track while it's downloading right now. I think it finally worked. So I'm gonna use the restroom, and then we'll lock it in. Let's see. All right. Yeah, my Wi-Fi is a little slow right now for some reason. All right, give me a second. Oh, right. We're back. Oh, now 15 versions are downloading. Okay. Yeah, it's working now. Let me get out of this here and pull it up here. Switch to lambskin pads, sound a little bassy. Yeah, I haven't tried those. Hey, thanks for tapping in. I appreciate you being here. All right, this is Cosmosis. This is Cosmosis right here by Nova. Nova's over on the Red app if y'all are confused by who I'm talking to. Let's get into it. Really quick, if y'all would like to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there, and we'll get you up in line, ready to go. The line is up on the other platforms that we're live on right now, the Red or Purple app. This is Cosmosis by Nova. Let's get into it. Yeah, any genre. Sounds good, Nova. Sounds good. Love that background arpeggio. go, Nova. Nice, man. It's like classic dubstep. This is cool, Nova. I like it a lot, man. Don't downplay it. Y'all saw some of that is Cosmosis by Nova. The real Nova official who's over on the Red app right now. Please show some love to Nova. That is Cosmosis. Let's run it from the top. Really, for me, man, like you have some great sound design selection. You have a ton of energy in the production here. Virginia, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. You have a ton of energy in your production structure, good sound selection, a couple of different changes in your kind of sound design choices between like what we'll call your verse versus your hook. As far as like kick and snare go, there's some different selections there. The thing for me that I'm kind of running into when we're kind of dissecting this is just balance between when you are pulling and pushing different sound design choices, right? One snare to the next snare, kind of kick to kick, one bass synth to another one, a different lead element coming in that sounds really, really hot. And then you go into the next section of the song and you reduce a lot of the energy by switching to a different sound selection. So those are the things that I'm kind of navigating here. It's like, I really like the structure of what you're doing. It sounds awesome. I appreciate you being here, Virginia. Your overall like format of the song, I think is really, really good. You have some nice buildups. It feels very staple for the genre, very classic for the genre. The thing that I want to do is kind of glue this together, balance this a little bit better, glue it together a little bit more so it feels a bit more tied together, a little bit more cohesive, and then you should be ready to go. All right, this is Cosmosis by Nova right here in the chat. A quick reminder, if you would like to submit your music, I don't know what's going on TikTok actually really quick. Let me double check something. TikTok is giving me some crazy issues. What's going on? Let me check something really quick. Nate's in the building. What's up, Nate? Welcome in. Jamie's in the building. What's up, Jamie? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. TikTok's been a little funky today. It's been a little funky today. Okay, let's run it from the top. Let's get into it. Aaron, welcome in. So like right here's where we're going to start to get into some of these details there. 282, thank you for the roses. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, if anyone wants to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then read through and follow the details there. We'll get you up on the board. For me here, your synths sound pretty good. Those sound pretty vibrant, pretty energetic. The thing that I'm listening the most for here is like kick to snare, right? In this case, I think the kick is a little soft. It actually happens through the build-up too. You can tell me actually really quick. Is the kick the same? I know the snare changes. I think it's the same kick, different snare, right? Renee, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Let me see. I know it's a little bit of a delay too, so I always have to wait like 7 seconds before the response comes in too. Yeah, like, I mean, that actual like support of those synths in the background, super, super vibrant. I would just have your kick forward by probably 2 to 3 dB, a little bit more energy behind that, because that's going to drive this whole thing. That to me is deciding all of your chains, all of your compression, triggering. That's deciding, the first kind of rhythmic structure of the song. I want that to feel really, really energetic. The vocal chops were from a vocal sample in GarageBand. I feel like messing. Dude, I love it, Nova. Yeah, there's not a lot of your sound selection that I dislike at all. I like a lot of what you're doing sound selection wise. It's just balancing. It's just balancing to me. So yeah, like kick, I would probably have forward because that's really determining the energy of the song. And then snare, you could probably come back about the same, maybe 2 dB or so. Yucca, welcome in. Good to see you, man. Yeah, back like 2 or 3 dB as well. And just create a little bit of a better balance in your percussion right there, because the synths to me sound really good. They sound vibrant. They sound heavy. But that kick is almost, and the snare might actually be fine if that kick was forward a little bit more. I just think the balance is like, it's a little bit imbalanced to me. So right now the snare feels really big compared to the kick, but it could just be that the kick needs to come up to kind of match the energy there. The kick is actually different in the beginning. The kick and snare into the intertones are different. Okay, that does make sense. That's kind of what I was initially hearing there. So yeah, if the kick and the snare are different, the biggest thing that I'm kind of focusing on from one part of the song structure and format to the next is making sure that like your kick and snare here don't lose or take away, gain or take away too much energy in the B section over here, right? If all of a sudden the snare shifts to a different sound over here that's way more transient or has a ton more body to it, and even if you put like the numbers the same and you're processing them similar and the balance is like looks like it's the same in the numbers, this could be way more vibrant, have way more presence and body to it. This kick might be way more sharp and transient than the other one, so we need to focus on balance between those different elements right there too, because it does feel like there's a little bit of an imbalance between the two snares for sure. Yes, yeah, it is a paid consultation. It's not a quick music review or anything like that. They're about 20 to 30 minutes long a piece. We usually listen to the track 2 or 3 different times to really get into the details of your music. So yeah, it is paid only. There isn't like a free line for review and then a skip line or something like that. And then here, I think once you rebalance a little bit of the percussion right there, which to me is going to be huge, I love this lead arpeggio right here. I love it, love it, love it. It wakes us up so much right here. This, that little thing right there at the top off the F sharp minor right there. That's beautiful. I love it so much. I want that like 4 dB louder. You don't have to do that, but I want that like 4 dB louder. It's such a great awakening in the mix. Like it takes the A section to B section to another level. It wakes it up like crazy. It gives it a ton of energy. And right now it feels pretty far back in the structure. And I would love for that to be a really nice B section where your lead element really jumps to the top of the mix. It feels incredibly vibrant. It gives it a ton of energy, so on and so on. You had some problems mixing that kick. It's borderline clipping, so I'd probably need to remix a lot of other elements to make that kick blast through. Yeah, that's probably, if you're already clipping, for one, turn everything else down. Like if the kick is already, if you don't have any more headroom, then we need to rebalance the whole mix to make it so you can balance these elements. So you probably just need to rebalance everything, right? Like we probably just need to pull the whole mix down, get everything away from your limiters, get everything away from like your digital clipping within each of these faders, each of these individual tracks, get everything down, get everything away, balance it appropriately. You can always turn up the headphones. You don't have to mix louder. Turn up the headphones, mix everything a little bit quieter so you can get a really, really good balance of all the elements that you have. Then if you need to, you can push a little bit higher. And also if you need a little bit more control over that kick, you could saturate it really, really lightly to give you a little bit more harmonic information, give yourself a little bit more dynamic control. Soft clipping, that kick alone can also help kind of control it and give you some more perceived loudness out of that kick without having to turn up the fader to get it louder. But if you're fighting to get that kick on top of the mix, which is not typical, then especially in this genre, then just turn everything else down by a couple dB. Let's take all of your other instruments and drop them all by 3 dB, get the kick back into a place where it's supported well and it makes sense in the structure of the mix. And then on the master side, on your limiter, you can always get your mix louder again. But that to me is the thing, is like if you're just mixing everything too loud and you've now lost control of your loudness, where like I can't turn anything up, I can't turn anything down, I don't, if you're at that place, then everything's too hot and we just need to pull things back. Yeah, 100%. I think oftentimes when you're running into a situation, like for me, the best mix you have some sense of control, right? Like once you've made a decision where you've lost control over the signal and you no longer have any ability to affect it or turn it up or turn it down or place it differently, then you run into a pain point that's going to really frustrate you the whole time, especially with something as prominent as a kick and dubstep. A kick and snare and dubstep is half the sound. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure there's plenty of clarity and separation for that. And if you're running into an issue where like, dude, I can't do anything to it, then we're already at a big pain point in the mix. Pull everything back, rebalance it, and then you can always make it louder on the master side. If y'all want to submit, I appreciate y'all tapping in. Is it Eli and Schmecky? Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you want to submit, go into my profile, click on the link, then read through and follow the details. You can check the line on the other platforms that we're live on. I run into clipping all the time. It's a mixing issue. Yeah, it always is. It always is. And like, I'm a fan. Like, if you want to clip, there's nothing wrong with it, right? These are not necessarily right or wrong things, right? Like, if you want, if you're fine seeing, there's times where I have stuff in the red. I'm like, dude, it's in the red. It just sounds good. I like it. I don't care. I ignore the visual and I mix with my ears, right? So there's times where I'm like, you know what? I know this is digital clipping a little bit. I know there's some things that are happening here, but if I'm, aware enough in the structure of my mix that I can get in there and mitigate some of those issues, then I'm fine. But more oftentimes than not, if I'm seeing a bunch of stuff in the red and I'm clipping and it's distorting and it's breaking up in a way that doesn't feel very flattering to the mix, then I know I need to go back and gain stage properly. I need to find the elements that are robbing me of my headroom. I need to kind of go back into the details there and see what's robbing me of my separation in the mix there and my balance in the mix there. Okay, let's get a little deeper to this. I definitely sometimes do have a tendency to mix loudly. I'm glad I didn't release this because now I want to remix and yeah, I think you should, because again, one of the biggest, you want this to feel wide, you want it to feel vibrant, you want the kick and the snare and the bass, especially sub bass, to be really, really energetic and have a lot of space in the mix. And if anything's robbing you of that, then we got to rebalance, especially kick, right? We got to rebalance and get it to a place that it feels really, really cohesively. I think just people need to remember you can turn up your headphones. You know what I mean? Get a headphone amp if you need to, if you're not running enough power to it. Turn up the headphones. If you want it to feel, and I don't even necessarily recommend this, but if you're like, I just want to feel the track a little bit more, turn up the speakers, turn up the headphones. That's why that knob is there too. And get those a little bit louder. Or you don't always, this is not necessarily something I do all the time, but sometimes when I'm just producing a track, I'll mix into a limiter so I can just get the whole thing feeling a little bit louder, and just kind of keep my eye on the meter over there and see if it's balancing a lot. Like if you just need it to be louder to produce, then turn your headphones up, mix into a limiter if it's helpful for you. And then, delete that at the end and rebalance as necessary. But I don't typically recommend that. I just would recommend mixing a little bit quieter so you can really hear the nuances of the track. But let's get into the outro here. What's up, Kev? Welcome in. I love it, Jacob. I love it. Like that F sharp minor arpeggio at the top. Obsessed with it. Get it forward. Like rebalance some of the dynamic elements that you already have in there and get that arpeggio. It's a beautiful, I love it so much. I want it way louder, way, way, way louder. I love what it's doing in the mix. What's up, Jenna? You see then right here, da 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 da. All of a sudden, this stuff comes in a lot more mid forward, a lot more energy behind them. They kind of slice through the middle of the mix right here. These elements now are too far forward, right? So this is the thing I'm talking about, where we just need to kind of get back into a balancing act between all these different elements. The sounds are all good. The samples are all great. I love your arpeggios in the background. The bass is heavy. The drums are snappy. There's a lot of sounds that I like, but the balance of them are going to jar you a little bit in the mix, right? So when we go back into these kind of more mid-forward vocal samples and chordal samples in the background, these start to leap out of the mix. So then all of this on this track needs to come back 3 or 4 dB. I think if you can just kind of rebalance a lot of this, dude, it's going to sound really clean, really even, still super powerful. And I think you're going to be in a great spot. I'm not worried about it. This is, 30 minutes of like tasteful revisions on your balancing to kind of get these under control. You'll be fine. Of course, man. Of course. Like right now, that feels super, super prominent against that vocal sample as well. So those are those elements I would just kind of rebalance a little bit. Nice. Y'all, show some love to Nova. Show some love. Also, do you think the vocal should be rebalanced? I was thinking that while listening back to it. Sometimes it's hard to sell because I know that the delay between the streams sometimes is really, really broad. But yeah, I mean, as far as like rebalancing them, right now, to me, they're just forward a lot. They're forward a lot. And I think they can come back under control. I don't think I would consider them super, super boxy unless it's just like unless stylistically you want to do something different with them. I like what they do. I just think they're too forward. I just think they're slicing through the mix in a way that I don't think is like the most beneficial to the mix. It's a little bit jarring. So I think if like that right sample, that right like, EP sample and the vocal sample are kind of back connected to the mix again, and like back under control, I think you'll be in a much better spot. I really do. I think you'll be in a much better spot. Matt, welcome in. Y'all show some love. Show some love. And then if you feel, thank you for the follow. Then if you feel like you pull them back in the mix, you rebalance them with all the other elements. If then you feel like now it still feels a little boxy, it feels a little tinny in the mids, then of course you can kind of rebalance and give these a little bit of a better structure. But that to me, I would make sure that you're not just turning something up too loud. And then, because this happens all the time, especially with earlier mixes, like you turn up something just too loud, it's not balanced well, and then you get into carving all of the character out of it to kind of connect it again, as opposed to just turn it down. Like sometimes I'll get a mix from a client where I have some of the plugins on, and I'll just see this crazy EQ on it. They're carving all the speed, all the stuff. All I do is like sometimes just delete the EQ and turn it down by 3 dB, and it's done. It feels way, way, way better. So what I would do first is like, I think some of what you're experiencing is like you have something too loud, it's too prominent, it doesn't feel cohesive in the mix. So you're trying to kind of carve some stuff to like make it fit when all you need to do is just connect it to the mix again. Maybe some glue compression on a bus, tuck it back another 2 or 3 dB, and then maybe EQ it a little bit differently if you want to. But it really I think it just comes down to using your ear, take a break from it, like you said, probably your ears, but like, take a break for the mix for a day or two, come back into it and see kind of what's going on, and see if you don't need to carve a little bit of space for the vocal sample, and or just pull it back into the structure of the mix again. Y'all give it up one more time for Nova. If anyone would like to submit, Matt, I see you. I appreciate you, man. If you want to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, just read through it and follow the details there, and we'll get you up on the board, ready to go. If you want to see the line order and minimums, you can go over to the other platforms that we're live on. Just have it open on another tab. That is the purple app and red app over there. Okay, we only got a couple more songs that we're going to be getting into today. You mix on low volume. Low is relative to your ears, but I just mix in a reasonable volume. I'm not cranking it. Now, when I'm producing, like when I'm like coming up with sounds, sometimes I'll have things a little bit louder, right? Like if I'm working on the Juno 106 and I'm coming up with a big, brassy, massive, like high attack, Juno sound, I'll have things a little bit louder because I want to feel it. I'll have it through the monitors. I want to feel it in the room. I want to see what's going on. But when I'm mixing, I'm not mixing at a low volume. Like people say, mix quiet. I'm not mixing at a low volume. I'm just not trying to get the master out of my mix, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to get the master out of my mix. I am just trying to balance, position, clean up, make sure there's space, get everything, even, get everything exactly where we want it in the mix. And then I can always pursue loudness later. But once you have cranked your mix and once you've maxed out everything, there's nowhere to go, right? In this situation, I'm like, hey, the kick definitely needs to be more prominent. You're like, I don't know, there's no more room. There's no more room. You get stuck, right? So that's where I'm like, okay, if you're running into an issue, then you need to mix a little bit quieter and just turn up your headphones. If you want loudness, then just turn up your headphones. But I typically just mix at like a reasonable a reasonable level. I'm not going for loudness in my mix. I'm going for balance. I'm going for clarity. I'm going for separation. I'm going for, whatever energy the song, requires, whatever the artist wants. And then, past that, we can always get loudness on the master side. That's easy. That's really not that difficult to do. If you have a great balance to your mix, then loudness is easy. Where loudness gets difficult to come by is when you have a really bad imbalance to the mix. Inflation in the subharmonics, you got harsh frequencies in the high end, you got like ghost frequencies that are kind of robbing you of some of your headroom. So then everything's kind of clipping at the top. You're over triggering your compression on the master, stuff like that. The only time that that's when you're like, man, I can't get this loud enough. But it's because you have like 30 hertz built up like crazy between, two different kicks and a sub bass and another 808 and a synth. And they're all building up this frequency you can't even hear, but it's robbing you of all your headroom, triggering compressors, like everything's pumping, right? So I think if you want loudness, make sure the balance of your mix is as even and clean and open as possible. But on the other side, loudness is not really that hard to come by if everything's fairly balanced out. Appreciate you so much, Nova. Appreciate you so much. Y'all show some love. What's the weather like out there? Yeah, Ken, if anyone wants to submit, go to my profile, click on the link, and then just read through and follow the details there. We'll get you up on the board. If y'all are over on TikTok, do me a huge favor. TikTok's been a little weird today. It's been a little tricky. If you would like to help out just a little bit, that would be amazing. Make sure y'all are tapping the screen, share the live with a few people. Don't forget to send your heart me for the day. It does really help out the live stream quite a bit. And TikTok's been a little goofy today, so it would mean a lot to me, even if y'all just do those free things that are really, really helpful for the stream. We got Jacob in the building. Jacob, hop in the chat really quick just so I can make sure that you are present and ready to go. I've already got your song downloaded, so you should be ready to go. Let me pull it up here. Beautiful. This is Sword. I'm assuming it's just Sword. It says Sword Revised 2, but I'm assuming it's just called Sword. Let me just double check this here. All right, this is Rough with a Vision. Just kind of double checking since we're already here. Haven't tracked all the vocals and finished it yet, but would like to have the song produced. Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, there's a link. There's a link. If you go to my profile, there's a link right there. Just click on the link and then you'll see a tab that is for submitting. And then let me know really quick too. Let me know really quick too the role that you play in your music, Jacob. So as far as production goes, musicians go, stuff like that, vocals, things like that. Let me know the role, all of the things that you're doing for the song as well. Nice. Got you. Are you programming the drums too? Yeah, any genre, Raphael. All of that happens at my profile if you click on the link. Nice. What's up, Kima? Welcome in. I'm doing good. Is that your vocal too? Nice. Well, how are you programming drums? What are you using? Yeah. Okay, got you. Kitten, go to IG. Look up Torvik Music on IG. Sometimes it's a regional thing where the link doesn't show up on TikTok in certain regions for some reason. Go to IG, look up Torvik Music. You'll see the same link over there. Great dissonance on the guitars. Good double track on the rhythms. It's fuzzy, it's nasty. Y'all, show some love. Show some love. That is Jacob Corum right here in the chat. It's right. Hey, it's also supposed to be. It's also supposed to be a little bit, right? I talk to people about this all the time, where it's like, you want balance, you want clarity, you want separation, you want things to be loud, you want them to be nasty, but at the same time, you do want some levels of control, right? Between like the positioning of your vocals, balancing between drums and guitars. You do want some level of control, but it's not a clean, pristine Ariana Grande pop R&B record, right? Like this is not supposed to be that. So I still want it to feel angsty. I still want to feel some tension in the mix. I still want the dissonance with the guitars, with those bends. I still want all of that. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. It's like just regaining a little bit of a balance. Why vocals are fuzzy. I mean, there's going to be some there's some natural overdriving that's happening with the more like false chord low, guttural screams and stuff like that. Those are a little bit overdriven, as well as probably some clipping that's happening as well. I'm assuming it's a little bit of a combination happening right there. Some of that may be intentional. Some of it might just be default of running those preamps a little bit hot going in. But let's run it from the top. Let's get into it. Let's see. All right, this is Sword by, let me see. Is there an artist name? Is the artist name just Jacob right now? Jacob Corum? Is that just the artist name that you have, or do you have a band or anything like that? All right, this is Sword. Let's get into it. Let's run it from the top. Let's dive in. Raphael, if you would like to submit, or anybody would like to submit, go to my profile and then click on the link, and then just read through it and follow the details there. If the link doesn't show up for any reason, it's a regional thing. You can find it over on IG. You want to have a loud track first, everything. Start with sound selection. Yep. All right, let's get into it. Like, I like this intro a lot. Like this actually gives me a little bit of like an 80s feel a little bit too. Like you could bring in some, I mean, you're not doing this, but like you could bring in some like 80s classic rock drums. You're going to be a totally different feel, right? This has a little bit more of a heavier metal feel, but you can move in a different direction than this. But this like almost bucket brigade chorus on the guitars, the old like EMU sample, almost like EMU choir sampler and stuff in the background, to me is just really cool. I don't get it. I searched Torvik Music, IG, and it just came up with the post. I mean, it's there. You just got to find it, kitten. I don't know what else to tell you. It's there. It's there. It's the only one with that name. So yeah, you gotta find it there. It's the only one. It's the first one that's gonna pop up for you. Just make sure you go to on IG. On IG. If you can't open up the link here, then you got to go to IG and look up Torvik Music there. It's going to be the first one that pops up. It's the only name. It's the only name. So you got to organize by, or whatever, organize by profile or whatever. Boom. You look it up and it pops up just like that. It's that top one right there. That's the only name. It's the only name. you just gotta, yeah. So if you just look up, search Torvik music, and it'll be the first one that pops up because it's the only one. And then you can go to the link there. Okay, let's run it. But I really like this early structure. I really like this early structure. Right off the bat here. So one of the things I'm kind of assuming, and I know you still need to go, I want to preface this by saying, I know you still need to go through some phases of mixing here, right? Like you said, this is rough. This is rough, and you're still diving into some of the structure of this. So I don't want to, what's up, Philip? Good to see you, man. I don't want to dive into some things you're like, yeah, I just haven't done that yet, right? So we'll talk a little bit about some of the production structure here, but I'm also going to kind of keep it in the back of my mind that you just still need to go through some of these processes. Masi, thank you for the rose. I appreciate you a lot. You still need to go through some of these processes of like mixing in those double tracks. You still need to go through some of the process of like balancing some of these other elements, right? So we'll dive into a couple little things here, but I also want to preface by like, you still just need to go through some of those steps. Okay, so one of the things that you're running into right now, just even like mixing in this double track of these rhythms that you have, which again, you have some really good tone, and you have some good heaviness that you're getting here. My assumption is that you're getting a lot. You're aiming to have this really, really heavy sound, really, really heavy tone. And so what you've done is you've kind of inflated a lot of your low end, right? So on both of these double tracks that you have here for these rhythms, it sounds like you have a lot of energy built up, like 200 hertz and below. It might even just be kind of like the Pultec U-shaped curve, you know what I mean? Where you push up, 8K, 10K, 12K at the top end a little bit. You crank the low end 100 hertz and below, middle bandwidth, and you just inflate it a lot. Because what you're getting on both of these, Wolf, don't spam the chat, but if you want to submit, everything's at my profile and at the link. Right on. Beautiful. Perfect. I love it. So that's like on both sides of that, that's what you're hearing. This kind of inflated 100 hertz and below mid bandwidth lift, like this low shelf that you're getting on both of those. What's happening though is that's just kind of eating away your headroom, and you're not really able to really process any of that information, right? And so what's happening is the whole mix, you get this U-shaped curve, right? Where it's kind of bright and crispy at the top with your drums and with your, some of your guitars in there, maybe even a little bit of the vocal. And it's really big and boomy and muddy at the low end, and then kind of carved out in the middle right here, where there's like not a lot of energy in the mids and high mids right there, until maybe your vocals come in and like another lead comes in. But those feel super, super heavy. I want those, when those guitars come in after this early breakdown with like your lead that has a little bit more of the chorus on it, when you have this like early guitar in here, when these doubles come in, I want them to feel incredibly dynamic and incredibly energetic. But what's happening is they come in and they still feel fairly soft. They still feel like they're kind of way in the background, but they're really there's a lot of energy in the low end. What I would do is carve a lot more of that out. You don't need a lot of that low end in there. I still want it to feel big. I still want it to have a lot of energy, but we need to regain a little bit more of your energy back in the mids that you've carved out, and take away some of the low end inflation that you have on the guitars on the left and right. Let your bass do a lot of it. Like when you're building your structure here for these guitars, let your bass handle a lot of that, like subharmonic, 100 hertz and below, 150 hertz and below. Let the bass handle a lot of that, distort it, chug it up, make sure it's got a nice crispy high end as well. A lot of your bass clarity is actually gonna come from the high end, like 5K, 6K, like high mids of that bass. So like 5K and 6K, give that bass a nice little lead. That's gonna give you a little bit more of like the string attack, a little bit more of the energy right there. And don't overinflate the low end. Because again, if you do that on the guitars and you're double tracking them, you do them on a bass, the kick is super heavy, you're just gonna get a lot of boominess and a lot of mud. So on those, on the bass right there, get it nice and crispy, allow it to really, really punch through. And then if that is sitting where you want it to be, then you don't need to inflate those. You don't need to inflate 100 hertz, 150 hertz on both of your double tracks if you have a sub bass that's filling in the middle of that already, and a lot of subharmonics in the bass that's filling in that already. Kitten, what's going on? What's with the question marks? Do I always necessarily cut low end? No, it just depends. Depends on the song, depends on the instrumentation. Kitten, what are you talking about? Michael, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Okay, I'm going to push a little bit farther into this. Because now, okay, so like once you, okay, again, I want a little bit more of that energy back into those vocals. Once you bring in these vocals, on the double track guitar, once you bring in these vocals, they're double tracked left and right. They're double tracked really wide, right? So you have like 100% left, 100% right, and they're very, very loud. Now keep in mind, when you take something from the middle of the mix and you pan it to the outside, especially like all the way out left side, all the way out right side, there is more perceived loudness, right? It's more distinct in the mix. You get a little bit of isolation when something starts to kind of be split outside of mid channel and feels really, really wide outside here. Kitten, chill with the chill. First of all, step down for a second. Take a moment. You don't need to be all caps. You don't need to be all caps. If you go to Instagram, the social media platform Instagram, and you look at Torvik Music, you will see my name. If you don't, you gotta figure that out. I can't help you figure out social media right now. I don't have the capacity for that. If you go to Instagram and you click on and you search Torvik Music, I am the only one called that. You can find it there, and then there is a link. If you follow that link and follow steps, you'll be in the right place. But I can't help you figure out IG. What do you, and I literally showed you the app because TikTok doesn't like you saying platforms on here. I said IG. IG is what Instagram has been called for the last like 15 years. Anyways, moving on. Okay. I can like envision what you're saying when you're saying, perfect. I love it. Sorry, Jacob. I'm distracting. I'm seeing too many things. I'm getting distracted. So, okay, let me focus on this. Right, so as you push these out, you can hear how distinct those vocals get. So they don't necessarily need to be that loud, but keep in mind, when you rebalance these guitars, you might be able to push them forward a little bit and get a little bit more energy out of them. Right now, they're just kind of being suppressed by their own EQ. And that's why I want to create a better balance for those. Because when those guitars first come in, they don't have a lot of energy behind. They don't really snap into the mix. They're just kind of back and wide and a little bit suppressed by the amount of low end inflation that you have right there. That's also probably triggering more of your compressors, which is like suppressing it and kind of keeping it held down a little bit as well. So that's why I want to make sure that those feel open and vibrant and that they have room to like jump out of the mix a little bit. They have like a little bit more headroom to actually have some dynamics in there so that everything doesn't feel like it's getting squashed and pulled to the back of the mix outside of the vocals that cut in. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I love that background guitar. That's great. The guitars also, not the guitars, I'm sorry, the drums in the background also feel like they're filtered down just a little bit, where like everything's kind of collapsed back to mono maybe just a little bit on the drums. I thought I heard some toms move outside of the stereo, like outside of the stereo there, but it almost sounds to me like the drums are kind of like locked in right in the middle, and there's almost some like artifact, almost like noise reduction or like some kind of a filter or something on it. It could just be like a bad sample in a stock drum or something like that. But you are running into some issues there where that drum does feel, again, a little bit like suppressed and also collapsed down, kind of back down to mono. So I would go back into with width on, I use binaural pan with wide width on the kick. Yeah, I wouldn't do all that. I would go into the plugin and focus on panning structure. Go into the plugin and focus on panning structure in order to really get into the positioning of each of those elements. So like within the plugin itself, that you're doing all of your drum programming and stuff in, that's where you would like go in and like mix in the overheads a little bit more, and maybe the room mics a little bit more, maybe pan like your high tom to the left a little bit, this one to the right, but don't do any doubling on there. Don't do any like widening on the drums. If anything, what I would do is then send all of your drums to a drum bus. I don't know if you've done that already, but send them all to a drum bus. And then over there, if you feel like you need to widen a little bit more, you could do so like tastefully, or send just overheads to a bus and widen just overheads so that your like overall image of the drum set feels a little bit more wide, feels a little bit more vibrant. But I would be very, very tasteful. I'm assuming that there's a couple, Landon, thank you for the follow. I'm assuming that there's a couple other elements in here that have kind of collapsed. Maybe you're running into some phase issues as well. I think that's where some of kind of the hollowness in the middle of the drums is happening here. So I would take off the widener, take off that. I'm not a huge fan of wideners. They can do their trick sometimes and they can be beneficial, but especially not on the kick. If anything, I would have it on overheads or a room, and you can make that like stereo room or like stereo overheads feel a little bit more vibrant, a little bit wider. You can kind of crush that with some, like a distressor or something like that and opening it up a little bit. You can't even spell. What's going on? I ain't even Venmo or cash apping your bro. Just to send it to, you'll critique and maybe, yeah, it's not even what we're doing. So you can chill. I don't even care. Don't care. Okay. D Busy, what's up? All right. I quite literally couldn't care less. All right. So as far as the structure goes, I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, what is happening? I am send for one, I'm not. And two, then don't. Like, I don't know why you have to, it took you an hour and a half to find the Instagram app, and somehow I'm in the wrong. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, ADHD's taken over. We're back, Jacob, and we're back. Jeez. Okay, it's not what this is about. Moving on. You can hear, right, how even like your crash cymbals and stuff like that, they all feel like they're kind of collapsed back down. So double check that. But again, prioritize removing whining, like kick that out for a second, or just bypass it for a moment and focus on other things. Like bypass that for a moment, get back to just your main structure. Get back to just like your main drums again, go into the plugin itself, focus then on positioning, focus then on making sure your overheads are in the mix if that exists in the plugin itself, which it should. Make sure rooms are in the mix. Another thing that you can do is send those drums to a stereo aux that is a room, that's set into a room. I'll show you really, really quick. I don't know if you're doing anything like this, but it can be really helpful. And you can, of course, do this on any DAW. Any like full DAW that has the options, right? So like what I would do here. So here is, let me bring up an aux. You can't see the whole thing right here. Bring up an aux. On this aux or a bus, in this case, you're gonna add a room, right? So in this case, I'm gonna add, let's go to Vintage Verb here, and I'm just gonna do something really, really, really simple. We'll go to a room, and we'll do a long, dark 70s snare room, right? We're just gonna add a basic plugin. It's gonna be at 100%, right? And I'm just playing piano, but this is what you would do for your drums. If you're feeling like the drums just don't have the space and the vibrancy and the energy that you want them to, send them into an environment, right? Not just add reverb to everything, but send them into a space. That way you can get a little bit more of that environment. I'm gonna do that on piano right now. So I'm gonna bypass the Valhalla that I have on here. Right, here's our piano. And so if I send this, so I have this room, right? I've sent it into the 70s room that we have here. If I then go to my sends right here, and then I send this to that aux, I'm gonna send it to the aux here, and I'm just gonna, this right here is going to determine how much of my signal I send into this room, right? That sounds crazy. That's a little bit too much. But even like right here in the middle, go a little bit more. That little space right there. If I bypass that, here's the dry signal. Nothing wrong with it, right? Nothing wrong with it. But if you set it in space, there's immediately some depth to it. So if you have that on drums, right, and you send that drum into a room, it can take like a really, let me give you actually a better example really, really fast. I'll keep that on here. I'm gonna go here, and then we'll move on, or I might hop off here in a little bit. I'm gonna pick crappy drums. Let's get some crappy drums on here. We love some crappy drums. I'm not saying yours were, I'm saying just in concept here. That sounds rude. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm saying in general. Let's see here. And let's switch this over right here. Oh, that's not what we're looking for. Dio, welcome in. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I was like, wait, like, let's get some more crappy drums just like yours. I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me see. Let's see what's going on here. I don't use these drums ever really. This is. Yeah, those are fine. Let me see. I know there's some other ones on here. So let me. Live drums. Yeah, okay, that's super dry, right? We can hear how dry that is. There's nothing. That's also like a super mono kick and snare, right? So if I do the same thing here and we go into our synths and I send this into this room, this one random room that we have, it's just like a snare room. I don't know. That's a little too crazy. So I'm gonna go in here. We're gonna choose a better room. There's a better one that I like. We'll go here. Yeah, that's better. Boom. That's the difference, right? Yep. So I'm sending the whole drums into an environment, right? So I create an aux, and that aux is my room. So right now, the room is fat snare room, right? That's the room that we have it in. And then I'm adding a set. I'm in Pro Tools. You can do this in Studio One, Logic, Ableton, FL, doesn't matter. And I'm just sending it. So I'm adding a send, again, so I can route this. I'm adding a send on the drums in this case. And I'm sending those drums, I'm sending into a room. Now, you could do this. There's another way you could do this where you send all of your drums to a bus. Right? So like you send you have all your plugin routed to a bunch of audio tracks or something like that, and you're mixing them and controlling them and adding wideners to the kick and whatever. We're doing all that stuff here. You can send them over to a bus to like glue compression, saturation, a little bit of whatever you want, some EQ and stuff like that, and then send that bus to a room, right? You add a room in there and you're sending it into the room. And then literally like, I'm going to change drum sets again. I want something a little thicker because this is here's a rock kit. These are so bad. These are so bad. Let's go. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's fun. Let me see. That's better. That's a little beefier, a little bit beefier, right? So now literally here, that's the difference. We can go crazy. Sounds crazy. You go right in here. That sounds like it's not great. It's not great, but it sounds a little more. It sounds a little bit more like realistic than. It's just so dry. You set it into space, it gives you a little bit more of the energy that you're looking for. Now, if you also, again, like let's imagine again, and we'll close up here. Let's imagine we're doing like a little bit more work on this. I'll usually I love Decimort 2 for drums as well. And we're just gonna give it I'm pushing the preamp here. The difference between like that, I'm going to go a little bit less. Let's open up the filter a little bit more. We don't need all that. That little bit of natural control that happens when you have just a bit of compression. That sounds way different than if I bypass this and bypass this. That's such a different experience than so much more color and weight and texture to it. So that to me is like those little missing pieces of like the drums collapsing a little bit, maybe some of the plugins and positioning getting in the way of you like feeling that part of the structure a little bit more. Killjoy, I love it, dude. Hell yeah, I love it. Like those little details to me are some of the ones that are like that make this feel a little bit less like, and again, that's a free plugin. That's a free plugin that comes with Pro Tools. Those drums don't sound great. Yellow hair, welcome in. They don't sound great. They're really not that well done, but it does offer you a little bit more energy and a little bit more support in the mix, especially if you're doing metal. We just have to make sure that each individual element is processed in a way that they can support their own weight in the mix, right? Like if right now the guitars are so inflated on the low end that the bass doesn't exist and the low end of the drums feels like they need to be way too quiet, then they can't handle the weight of their own production element right there. What's up, Busy? Good to see you, man. And so that's why I'm like, I want to make sure like those guitars are there and they're forward, but they're not interrupting the bass. I want the bass to be heavy, but I don't want it to take over the drums. I want the drums to be in a room. I want them to be vibrant. I want them to be heavy and sharp and transient, but I don't want them to take over everything else. And then the vocal needs to be able to sit right over the top of all of the rest of that structure right there. So those to me. Let me hear like the outro of this really quick, and then we'll probably get out of here in a second. Can you tell what you are doing? What's up, Posh? I appreciate you tapping in. Welcome in, welcome in. We are doing consultations for artists, producers, musicians, engineers, songwriters, stuff like that. We're diving into mix and master production, sound design, lyric and song structure, songwriting, whatever it may be. So we spend about 20 to 30 minutes breaking down the song, listening 2 or 3 different times to really get into those details, and offer hopefully some actionable feedback, a really detailed breakdown of the structure of their music. Like when that opens up, like you hear like the difference of just like, and it's going to be a little bit compressed on TikTok, but just, like it's just a massive difference in positioning and like openness, right? And this is a nasty pop drum. I'm not even trying to do metal necessarily in this in particular, but I want to open up the rest of your drum structure so it doesn't feel too collapsed, right? That's kind of the stuff that I'm looking for. Hey, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for tapping in. I got you. Yeah, if anyone, I'm about to close up here in a second, I'm pretty sure. If anyone does want to submit, you can go to my profile, click on the link, and redo and follow the details there. If you're on the red app, you can go to the description for the live stream, YT. If you're on the purple app, you can type !submit right there in the chat. Yellow hair, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But yeah, if you want to submit, you can, but I'm probably going to close up here in just a little bit. Yeah, great musicianship, man. Great vocal structure. This all comes down to balance and individual processing. I love it, man. I love the aesthetic. I love the imaging behind what you're doing, man. Y'all please show some love. That is Sword. And then you said a band name. Remind me what the band name is. I think you said it at the very top and it won't let me scroll that high. Remind me of the band name really quick. But y'all please show some love to Jacob right here in the mix, man. Right here in the chat. I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for sending that in. Crown and Ash. So y'all show some, that's not a thing yet, right? It's not, you don't have anything out on platforms, correct? But yeah, show some love to Jacob. He did all that himself. So please show some love and support, man. I'm really excited for what you're doing, man. Can you give any tips on how to compose a song, like instrumental first, or build the beat around the lyrics? I think, is it Posh? Am I saying that correctly? I think, what's up, Senko? Welcome in. It depends on what your strong suits are and what comes more naturally to you. So I do, like when I'm working on my own productions and mixes, whatever the reasoning might be, right? It's different every single time because I do everything myself. So sometimes I have an idea on the piano and I build out that piano idea, or I play a synth. I start looping an arpeggiator or a sequence on a synth and I come up with an idea from that. Sometimes I wake up at 2 a.m. and I have a lyric idea in my head, or I'm in the shower and I have a melody that pops into my head. So it's different every time. Now I have the benefit of having everything at my disposal at all times. So if I have a drum idea, I can jump on a drum set. If I have a synth idea or a piano idea or a guitar idea, I can jump on any one of those instruments and play it myself and figure it out and build a structure from there. So you have to kind of know your strengths and know you're like, okay, I'm really, really good at lyrics. Those come easily. I can write poetry and write structure pretty easily. So I'm going to have, pages and pages of lyrics. And then it might take me a little bit more time to come up with progression and like build production and stuff like there. But it really just depends. And anyone that I've ever talked to, anyone that I've ever talked to about like songwriting and stuff like that, they all do it differently, right? I think it just depends on what inspires you. So I would just not put yourself in a box. You know what I mean? Like, don't put yourself in a box. If you if you like start coming up with a really cool melody, don't be like, oh, I need to build a production now to match it. Like, just start to like build out structure for yourself and just start to like respect each creative idea as it comes. That to me is the easiest way, and not trying to box yourself in, because it's different for me every time. I know that's not like a great answer, but it's different for me every time. So what I would say is like, what tip is like, whether it's like building instrumental or it's doing other stuff, I would just lean heavy into the ideas as they come. So if you get a musical idea, dive into the music. You can always build lyrics later. You can always build melody structure later. If you're like, man, I have a really, really cool, interesting idea, that's on the musical side, or on the lyric side, man, I've got a really interesting lyric. Dig into those lyrics for a while. You know what I mean? Like, you can always really, really dive in. You can always change it later. Like, you can always dive in a little bit deeper later. I think a lot of people try to kind of put themselves in a box a little bit of like, I'm a songwriter, so I'm just going to get stuck right here. What I love to do is just like, when I have an idea, I just lean into it. I'm just like, oh, I've got a really, really cool melody. Let me start to build it out. Instead of being like, oh, I have a melody, I guess I need to like grab a guitar and figure it out. Just start writing out the ideas, right? Start recording voice memos of your melodies and stuff like that. Like, I've got 1,200 voice memos, or more probably, like 3,000 voice memos of just 4-second little humming ideas, like of me just like having an idea while I'm like getting gas or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, very random. And so I just lean into those ideas as they come, and then decide how I want to build up later. But as far as like structure of like, do I start with drums? Do I do whatever? It's quite literally different every time. I've been playing piano since I was 6 years old. I've been playing synths for decades at this point. So it's like more natural for me to probably like start with a synth. I like just flipping them on. I've got a bunch of them in here, flipping them on and having some fun with them. But it's a really different every time. There's sometimes where I start with like a drum beat, or I start with a melody and kind of run with it from there. But of course, I appreciate the question. What do you raise per hour? Because I'm impressed with it. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you, man. Shoot me a message. It kind of depends on what we're working on and kind of the depth of the project and what capacity I'm working on the projects. Yeah, shoot me a message, man. Shoot me a message on like IG. If we know what IG, sorry, it's call back to the other person, call back to Kitten. Yeah, if you know what IG is, shoot me a message on IG, and we'll figure out like what the depths of the project are and dig into some of the details of it. Just don't overthink it. It's all in the sound and where. Yeah, 100% all in the sound where it takes you. I started making music a year ago. Kiva, welcome in. I started making music a year ago and just started releasing them. It's a lot. Yeah, if you're doing everything yourself, it's a lot. If you're trying to be a great, musician, a good vocal producer, a good beat maker, a good mixing engineer, you're trying to master everything yourself, it's a lot to figure out. It's a lot to figure out all on your own. But I mean, I think it's valuable. I think whether or not you end up outsourcing, it's really valuable to know the language. It's really, really, really valuable. So like, I know a lot of people that they're like, I don't want to engineer at all. I don't want to do that at all. I'm like, still learn the language, because then you know what to request and you know what you're hearing when you get mixes back, so that you can push back on things, or you can have different creative ideas and stuff like that. It's really, really important that you learn the language of any of the skills that you're outsourcing, so that you really know how to communicate. Otherwise, you communicate the wrong things and you end up in this loop of revisions with your engineers where things just kind of get lost in translation and neither one of y'all are happy with your process. And so I feel like it's very, very beneficial. And point, like, some of the best vocalists, like especially in like the pop industry and stuff like that, some of the best vocalists in pop and R&B are also phenomenal vocal engineers. Ariana Grande is a great example of this. She's like widely known in the music industry as one of the best vocal engineers and like phenomenal vocal comper. She knows playlisting like the back of her hand. She's amazing. A lot of times she's tracking and comping a lot of her own vocals in Pro Tools over other engineers and stuff like that. And so it's like, that's someone who, they know their voice, they know what they want, they know where they want to position, they know how to build their layers and their tracks, and they learn the process intimately so that they have some control over their process. And even though it's going to be sent to like another great engineer that they're going to pay $3,000 to mix, it's still really beneficial for her as an artist to understand that stuff so that she can request, she knows exactly what to do and where to place things. So even if you're like, dude, I just want to be a producer, I just want to make beats, knowing the language around vocal production and understanding vocals and stuff like that, and vice versa, is so important. Already at some level. Yeah. I spent probably thousands on YouTube researching. David, 100%, man. 100%. Easily. Easily. Okay, y'all. I think that's gonna call it for today. A little weird live today. TikTok's been a little funky today, so I'm trying to figure out a couple of things out. But yeah, we're gonna, if you DIY, you're basically doing a job of, yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're tracking your own vocals, you are being the tracking engineer. And I think a lot of people just don't put in the effort of a tracking engineer, right? So they're like, I'm gonna just track my own vocals. But you need to think, when you're tracking your own vocals, you need to think as a tracking engineer and figure out comping and playlisting, figuring out your punch and structure, figuring out how to loop record and do the things that you want to do. Like you gotta build a lot of that out yourself. And I think where Joanna, thank you for the follow. Sorry. I'm choking. But figuring out that stuff for yourself gives you so much of an advantage as an artist because your takes are going to be better. They're going to be cleaner. You are consciously thinking of proximity control, mic placement, the mic that you're using, how you're gain staging going into your DAW. Like all of that stuff starts to make a whole lot more sense. It really, really does. And the better you get at that, the less reliant you have to be on like, do I need a book studio time? Do I need to go spend $400 on a week and do all this other stuff? You can spend $400 one time on a decent setup and have a little bit more control of what you're doing and the sound that you're trying to get. Recording right now. Can I show you? We're actually about to hop off, doing everything for myself and bothering to finish my EP first professional. Let's go, dude. I love it. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna get off. I will be live this weekend, probably a little bit. Jump back. Hey, that's half the fun. Sometimes you just got to twist some knobs and hope for the best. So are the best engineers in the world. Yeah, they know what they're doing, but sometimes they're just like, should I just crank this 1176 and see what happens? And then some magic happens. If you know the rules, it's a lot easier to break them. Okay, I'm gonna call it a day. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are amazing. Y'all have been fantastic. Quick reminder before we hop off and get out of here. But my name is Torvik. I am a full-time audio engineer, producer, and session musician. That is what I do for a living. So if you are ever interested in those services, shoot me a message on IG, on TikTok. You can reach out through our website, so on and so on. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Sometimes I'm not the best, but I'm trying to be better. Sometimes things go to requests, and that's where things get lost. But yeah, shoot me a message. I would absolutely love to work on y'all. So I've got, I do live drums. Actually, right now I'm selling my drum set, so that's a little bit harder to get to right now because I'm gonna get a new drum set in here, so it's all stashed away so I can sell it. But I do live drums, acoustic, electric, bass guitars. My bread and butter is synths, keys, stuff like that. I've been playing since I was 6 years old, classically trained. So if you're looking for hardware, analog synths, I've got a ton of them in here, and I'm getting more. I love synths. I love keys, piano, stuff like that. I also do vocals, acoustic, electric, bass guitar, stuff like that. Also full production packages, mixing and mastering, so on and so on. Y'all are amazing. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have an amazing rest of your evening, and hopefully we'll chat with y'all soon. Peace.